Good evening and welcome to our Facebook Live this evening. My name's Jenny McCormack and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator, and I'm based in the market town of Brackley in the UK. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. I hope you've had a good day. And the weather here has been very autumnal, and that's going to be my theme for this evening's card, definitely. So I have a mix and match week this week, and what that means is I mix and match up stamp sets and dies or punches or papers that I wouldn't normally put together or I haven't already put together. So it's quite a fun way of revisiting your stamps, and I do if you're struggling with ideas or anything else like that, hi Katie, then I do recommend you try a mix and match or a mash-up or whatever you want to call it. So yesterday we used this lovely stamp set called Hand Drawn Blooms. This is a cling stamp set, and this actually features in the stamp sale that starts this evening. So the stamp sale is 24 hours, just under 24 hours, starts 11 o'clock this evening, and all of the cling mount stamp sets, and these are the ones that are red rubber that have stickers that go onto the reverse, so like this one here. All of the stamp sets in the annual catalogue that are cling are reduced by 15% for one day only, starting this evening. If you're unsure, hi Carol, of which ones are cling mount, if you look at your catalogue, oh, I picked up some gems on the way, and pick out any of the stamp sets, it will tell you in the description which ones are cling and which ones are photopolymer. So if I look at these two here, Count on Me is cling, and then on the next page, these are two of my favourite, well, this is a favourite one of mine. Anybody of you who knows me knows that I love these birds. So Free as a Bird is cling. So both of those are on offer at 15%, whereas the Whale Done, at the bottom there, it says, I'm not sure if you can see that really, probably out of focus for you, but it says photopolymer. So you can flick through your catalogue and see if there's anything in there on your wish list that you might like to have. This is one that I which I will actually be ordering, because I haven't got this one. It's cling mount and it has a vertical happy birthday, and I think that is the only vertical happy birthday we have in the catalogue. But I also like the sentiment, may your day be filled with sunshine, and the other elements. So I'm actually going to pop my post-it note here to remind me to order that one. The other thing you can do is look in the index, because in the index in the back it will tell you if it's cling or photopolymer. So if you know the name of the stamp set on your wish list that you would really like to order, and you'd like to get it at an extra discount, then Artistically Inked, for example, here is a cling, and this is one that I've been using quite a lot recently. So you could get that at 15% discount. Hi Scott. So that's all of the cling stamp sets in the annual catalogue are on 15% discount tonight. Okay. And if you wanted to join the team, and it's always a good time to join it, you could select a whole series of the cling mount stamps in your starter kit and get effectively 15% more in your starter kit. That's always a good deal anyway, and if you've got a list of stamps that you're after, then that would be a good way to build up your stash. So let me have a look. This is what we created yesterday. So this is mixing hand-drawn blooms with the Best Chapter stamp set. So this is the two that I did yesterday, so they're very similar. This one says congratulations to you. I've used a bit of the blending brush behind, just on that little bit of pink, added some pink detail, and then I did, amazingly, fussy cut this little piece here that says congratulations, and then I stamped that in the corner. And then for this one, I did this as a retirement card. And so it says happy retirement, and then inside it says relax, eat, travel, indulge, read and enjoy. And a little corner again. So that was putting those two stamp sets together. Today I'm going to carry on with hand-drawn blooms because I had an idea when I was working yesterday. So I am going to carry on with this large stamp here. I'm going to pick a stamp from the welcoming window. I love this. These pots are so realistic, and what I'm actually going to use is the bricks, and I'm also going to use jar of flowers and the matching punch. So I have ready the hand-drawn blooms stamp, that's all there. I've got the brick stamp from the welcoming window, and then I'm going to use the jar of flowers jar, although you're not actually going to see that in the finished card because I'm actually going to use the punch to punch something out. So let me grab some paper. Let me just fold this a bit nicer. And we're going to get started. So, oh, it's not much tidier, is it? Let's put it that way, like that. So I'm going to use a piece of basic white card. This is going to be my base. And I'm going to start by stamping the jar. And I'm only doing this to get the positioning for these flowers here. And you'll see why. Because I want to make sure that I've got enough space to pop those and the jar on it. I'm hoping I have. I know there's not much space to play with, so I'm going to be using early espresso and crumb cake, no surprise there, and this has an autumnal sort of harvest time feel about it, and this was the idea came to me yesterday when I was doing the other card. So I'm just going to keep this central, just going to stamp this hopefully roughly in the middle. Hi Tracy, thank you so much, and hi Kate, haven't seen you around for a while, Kate. Okay, so there's my jar. I'm actually going to cover that up, but I want to use it to position this here. So I'm just going to ink this one up, like so. So I hope everybody is well. Kate, I hope you're well. I haven't seen you for a while. Okay, making sure that is coated. Glasses are off so I can see what I'm doing. And I'm just going to stamp this as if it's coming out of the jar, like so. Now I'm not worried if I've A, got a gap, or B, I've overlapped the stamp. Like so. So that is just such a pretty little stamp. really is delicate, and I love the fact it's wild flowers rather than sort of a bouquet of formal flowers. And what I'm going to do now is use the brick and crumb cake, and I'm going to add some brickwork around, because what I want it to look like, hopefully, is, for example, a harvest festival bouquet in a church, for example. So I'm just stamping this to see what it looks like. So what I'm going to do is just add the bricks around here, like so. And I love this brick. I think we really need a set of stamps that's just like bricks and stone or something like that. Okay, just going to pop this up in that corner there, and then I'm just working my way around here. Hopefully you can see that. I will bring it up to the camera in a second. So this brickwork has got sort of natural gaps and things in it. Let me bring that up for you. Okay, now you could stamp this in something like Cajun craze to get, if you wanted a really sort of deep amount of brickwork. If you can hear that little noise, that's Cassie dreaming. Okay, so I'm just building this up around the edge, and I'm not worried about there being gaps here and there. I just want to give it the feeling of this standing in front of some brickwork. It would, yes. In fact, there is a set very that is almost like that, Kate. That's one of the host stamp sets, so you can buy either when you host a party or place a large order. And I will have a look and see exactly what it has in there. Okay, so there's my background, and what I'm going to do is just fill a few little bits in. So this has got one piece of brickwork that is sort of sticking out, so it's quite useful if you've got like a single gap like there and here. Now if I wanted to do this really accurately, I could take a post-it note and mask this off and then have the brickwork all the way around, but I quite like it being broken up, quite like that look. There we go. So what I'm going to do now is grab my blending brush and some, so this is my brown one, as you can see. And I know this crumb cake is quite light, and crumb cake is light anyway. Oh, it's got all sorts of little symbols against your comments. I'll have to look up what they mean. So Tracy's got a number 1. That means you must be my number 1 or one of my most regular commenters. Kate Hammond's got a little flag. Scott's got a number 5. So I'll have to look up on Facebook and actually see what they mean. Okay. So I'm just blending this in for a slightly softer look. And you can be quite accurate with the blending brush. You can see on this side I've gone along the side, this side I haven't, so that you can get in quite close. And then what I'm going to do is apply a bit of yellow and fill in with some yellows and oranges. Carol will be happy. Orange is her favourite colour. Yellow is one of my favourite colours. There we go. That will do for now. I can always go back in and add a little bit more. Okay, so what I want to do now is I'm going to grab my yellow blending brush. I think there might, yeah, it looks like there's some yellow already here. So very similar, oh, I need to put that in there. Very similar to yesterday. I'm just using that to add a soft background area. Let's just grab a little bit more. Daffodil Delight. There we go. So I'm going to cover up this jar. That's why I haven't got any stalks in there. But I could have put the stalks from either of the sets in there if I wanted to. So like that. Let's cover these up. Carol says orange is the best. And then I'm just going to grab a couple of pens. So I've got Mango Melody, Daffodil Delight, light and dark. And I'm just going to use the fine tip from here and just scribble in the center of this flower. I've just forgotten how pretty this set was. So as I say, if you didn't catch my comments earlier, there is a stamp sale starting this evening. So if you're on my email list, you should have received that. 15% off all of the stamp sets that are cling mount and in the annual catalogue. That's the thick catalogue. So if you've got something on your list you've been meaning to get, then if you wish, take advantage. So I'm just colouring these in just to blend that in. And again, it's quite a good one to scribble. You don't need to be really accurate because it's quite a very fine line drawing. Let's add in a little bit of orange as well. See that coming together. So this is Mango Melody. I don't know if there's enough difference. Probably. I could use pumpkin pie. That would be another good example. Now if I feel I want to add a little bit more colour with my blending brush, I can add that afterwards. It won't make the blending brush colours, it won't make the blends colours run at all, because they will have already dried. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit of a light green. So I've got a little bit of granular green. I'm just going to dot this in. go. Oh, I missed a flower there, look. So it's only a small amount that I've added. There we go. And I might just add a little bit of light soft suede. And then that's the colouring done. I say it's a very easy one to colour. You definitely don't need to be an expert to colour this one. But equally, if you like very fine lines and detailed colouring, eat your heart out. And I'm sure there's some stunning combinations. There we go. That will do for my purposes. Okay, so those are the blends pens I used. A range of yellows, a granny apple green and a soft suede. And I'm just going to bring this in now with a little bit more crumb cake. To move it up so it's... And I've got various choices for my jar at the bottom. Okay, so just blending that into the background like so. Okay, put those away. So I have got this piece of patterned paper that I've cut out from the Everyday Elegance. So I can see what you see. There we go. I thought this would be nice, but I think it's a little bit overpowering. I also have this one here, which is a piece of our foil that I've run through an embossing folder just to give it some texture. So a bit like you'd find a sort of a big copper, I was going to say planter, but you know what I mean, vase, that's the best description. I've got this one here that I stamped and have cut out. So I've cut this all out with the punch. This is the punch that goes with the jar of flowers. But I didn't want to do that, although you can see the marks here. So what I might do, I was going to use this same paper. This is from the Nature's Harvest paper. Just thought it was really pretty. What I might just do is punch out the plain one of those, because this is actually going to go behind, like so. So let's just punch out a plain one. See what that looks like. And I'm going to put a little bow on it as well, because I just want to look like a vase. And I have a bit of my favourite bumblebee gingham. That's all I've got left of this one. So let's just see how this looks if I do a bow with it. There we go. Like so is what I'm thinking. You can't really see that very well, can you? Let me bring this up to the screen a bit better. Like so. So let's just have a look with it on that. This is definitely too overpowering. I've decided that. That's the other side of it, of course. Not that it goes with anything, but I do quite like it. So what do we think? Do we think the copper or the yellow? With the, I can use the ribbon on either. I think I prefer the yellow, but let me see what you think. So my plan was to put this onto this, like so. So I think I'm going to apply those layers. Just, you can just see that element then of that yellow. Yes, I think Kate and Scott, I'm with you. What I might do is just add a little bit of ink around the edges. So let's layer these together. So don't forget, if you've got a large layer like that, then you can punch any shapes out of it before you stick it down, so that you're not wasting anything. Make sure you put the glue on the reverse of this, avoiding the holes. Oh, hi Beverly. So just a light amount, whoops, a light amount of glue, not too close to the edges. Okay, so I'm going to pop that on there with my holes in it. Okay, using the wet glue, so it gives me an opportunity just to move that around. This is going to go on top, and what I think I'm going to do is just I'll do it this way, add a little bit, might actually go early espresso, just to pick up that edge a little bit more, like so. So it's, I do a mix and match every so often, and as I say, it's a good way of just looking at your stamps in a different way, see what you can put together. I've got a great one for you tomorrow, using a stamp that's definitely not what it was intended for, and I got that from our demonstrator Facebook group with permission to use. Okay, so I've just shaded that on either side, hopefully, so you can see that a little bit better. Whoops. And then I'm just going to add just a little bit more of this early espresso ink on this edge, and then we're done. And I may or may not put a sentiment on it. I think this would make a nice thank you card, a thinking of you card. So making sure you turn your paper around so that you're using the same amount of pressure all the way around. Subvert the stamp set, absolutely. It's a very clever one, and actually it uses a die as well, which is also very clever. Okay, so hopefully this has got an autumnal feel about it, if only because of the colours, the yellows and the browns. And I'm very much an autumn person, not because of the season, but because of the colours. I do wear very autumnal colours. But season-wise, I love the summer. For those of you that know me. Okay, so I'm going to position this flat, and then I'm going to pop up my jar with some dimensionals. As I say, you could easily stamp the stalks into there. So here's my jar. Just going to dot some dimensionals on it. Add my little ribbon, and we're done. I could have had contrasting ribbon, but it is one of my favourites. And I found my old ribbon scissors. In fact, I found 2 pairs. Right, just going to make this very slightly smaller. Just it on there. One, 2, grab a glue dot, and we're done. So I'm just having that a little bit down from the top, just so you can see the top of that. I might trim that a little bit more. So there we go. So do you think it looks like this could be in front of, could be in a church, for example, in front of the brick wall? That's the sort of aim I was looking for. And in terms of sentiments, I may have something in my many messages box. So this is the set of stamps and dies that work together. It's a little bit big, isn't it? So I should have some in espresso. That says just wanted to say. That would sort of work. Or this would be nice. I know this is blue, so I might look for, so this one says sending happy thoughts. I think that looks really cute on there. So I'm just going to see, wishing you a year of magical moments. That would also work. Let me just see if I've got that little one in brown. Oh, I've got that one though. Pink. I've got this one that says thank you ever so much. That's definitely blue. I do like that, sending happy thoughts. There it is. Okay. Now there is a new stamp set that goes with those dies. I must use that. Okay, so thank you ever so much, or sending happy thoughts. I think sending happy thoughts is perfect. There we go. So there is my finished card. I will stamp the inside the same way that I did with the others. Let me just trim this down. I want it too big. There we go. And there we have it. So I hope you like that. What I will do with the inside is just stamp something like that. Obviously not with the retire message. But I hope you like that one. So the colours that I've used there are Early Espresso, a little bit of Daffodil Delight and Mango Melody for the colours here. And the ink that I use for the yellow behind is Daffodil Delight, Crumb Cake, and then I've used this layer of patterned paper that matches this one here, not that you can see much of it, and an Early Espresso card. So there we go. Thanks for joining me today. So I will be back tomorrow morning. Thank you, Kate, with a different mix and match, something completely different. Just as a reminder, our stamp sale starts this evening. For anybody who didn't catch me right at the beginning, I don't want to bore those that have. But the stamp sale starts tonight, 15% off all of our cling mount stamps. So this is the red rubber stamps from our annual catalogue for 24 hours. Okay, I will put, as soon as the link is up, that link straight to the website, I will pop that on my Facebook page to make life a little bit easier for you. That way you can just scan through all of the stamp sets that are there, or have a look in the catalogue. In the index it will tell you which ones are cling, and they're all at a discount. So thank you so much for joining me. I'll be back tomorrow, Wednesday at 10 AM for another in my mix and match series. I do hope you have a lovely evening, and I look forward to crafting with you again really soon. Thank you, everyone. Take care now. Bye bye.